with Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-889-5600. That's 708-889-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
The following live program is sponsored by Breakthrough Ideas.
AM 560, The Answer. It's time for breaking news, expert insight, and informed commentary on what's happening in Springfield, Chicago, and beyond. Because an informed citizenry is the only way to protect our republic. It's time for The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson.
Good Monday morning, a snowy morning at that, the day before the primary election. Good morning, Amy Jacobson here. Jeanne Ives, The Real Story. You can watch us on YouTube at Breakthrough Ideas or on the Facebook page or at 560theanswer.com. And I know, Jeanne, when we left everyone on Friday, there were a number of heavy hearts about your cousin's son-in-law, Alex, and I know that you wanted to talk about that.
So we got the message right after we had finished off with Dan, and I was sort of blandly just reporting the news that the KC-135 went down, obviously midair collision. Of course, none of this is bland. It's real life. It's real life for everybody who has, people that are dealing with this. And then you have the situation where I get a text message from my family members, and I find out that actually it is my first cousin's son-in-law who lost his life. He was the pilot, Alex Klinner. And, he leaves behind his wife, Libby, who is my cousin's daughter, and 3 little children. And it really just does hit home. I got to tell you, he's sacrificed. He gave his life, as did the other 5 that were on that KC-135, as did the other 7 who were caught up in that missile attack. And I just want people to know that his name, and I want to thank everybody who has responded so generously to the GoFundMe page for them as well. I'm still waiting to get the details on the funeral services, which I do plan on attending. And, for military families, they understand the danger that their loved one is put in. You don't necessarily expect those KC-135s, which are refueling jets, to be in harm's way. But again, this was not the result of combat action. He was in combat. It is a combat incident, but he was not shot down by an Iranian missile or an Iranian aircraft at all. It was obviously some sort of midair collision. We're still waiting to find out the deals on that. And so it's a good reminder to everybody that the training itself, the operations itself on a daily basis to secure this nation is dangerous. And so we need to give them all of the support that we possibly can. They are the ones who secure our freedom in the future. And I, for one, I was asked by another reporter from the Washington Times who was doing a report on something else, and he happened to call me. And he says, well, how do you feel about the action? I said, we had to take out the Iranian nuclear capabilities and their ballistic missile capabilities. We had to do it. It's, to my opinion, though, it is something that should have been done years ago by other leaders at other times. And so the fact that this was even a threat now, when it should have been taken out earlier, is something that I am not happy about. But I am happy that we are engaged in this conflict so that we can secure Americans' safety in the future. And we'll take it from there. And but I want to thank everybody for their support and their prayers for my family.
And you mentioned, and I read the article too about his 7-month-old twins, and he has a 2-year-old girl. Where can people go? You mentioned that there was a GoFundMe. Can you put it on social media? Because I know I and a lot of other listeners would love to help out. I
shared it on my personal social media, and I will share it on the Amy 560 Facebook page. I'll give them the link to share it there.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, we've one day to go, and I'm sure you've been very busy this past weekend with the last weekend before the March 17th primary. And one person, Jeanne, his name is on the ballot. He's running for governor for the 3rd term. He has no public event scheduled today. And he's also supporting Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton for U.S. Senate race. And I've never, in my entire time in Chicago, have seen that where a candidate is bypassing any any media that he could get, whether it be, on local TV, network TV, or social media. Does that seem strange to you?
Well, he did do the Chicago parade, the Chicago, St. Patrick's Day parade. He did do that. I saw him and MK marching next to him, and of course all the other Democrat leaders marching down Chicago streets. He might have been at the Southside Irish Parade. I don't know, but I can tell you what. On the Republican side, which is what I'm more concerned about, a lot of those folks were a no-show. It appears that Rick Heidner did the Chicago parade. I didn't see him at the Southside Irish Parade except for a big truck with his sign on it. Ted Dabrowski at least was at the Naperville parade on Saturday morning. No other candidate was there for the governor's race on the Republican side. So a lot of them skipping out on some of that. But you need to run through the tape here. You need to keep going. And in that regard, we do have, I don't see the clip up yet, but Ted Dabrowski did a press conference this morning with a coalition of folks that are supporting him, and we'll get you a clip in the next time. But everybody seems to be making their closing arguments. One of them is Kat Abou-Ghazala, if I said that correctly. And here was her closing pitch. Watch for the F-bombs.
AIPAC and Republican-funded interests are trying to buy our election. They are pouring millions into our race. And yet we are tied for first with 0 outside PAC money. We are not winning with rich donors. We are not winning with Republican backing. And we are not winning with smear campaigns and backhanded tactics. We're winning with people. So once again, and donate and volunteer at CatfordIllinois.com. We are partnered with the Justice Coalition. We are partnered with the Sunrise Movement. If not now, the Nurses Union. We are partnered with working class people and organizations all over this district, and we need your help to win on March 17th. All right, guys.
So I'm not sure if you heard that, but it was like F ICE and F AIPAC. And so this whole, you cannot take AIPAC money and get the support of the progressive Democrats. You must say F ICE. You must say F Trump. This is what they're doing. Now, this story is a little bit old, but apparently her campaign reported just 3,215 contributions of more than $200 from people who actually live in the 9th Congressional District, less than 1% of the total amount that she raised.
All her money.
So
from outside. Well,
yeah.
She's been saying that she's poor. Remember, Jeannie? She's like, I'm poor. I'm just like you. I'm struggling. There was a time I couldn't pay my health insurance. Well, Marion Ahern sat down with her because, as most of us know, she grew up in a very affluent neighborhood in Dallas in a $3.2 million house. But now she's claiming she's poor.
Okay.
Can you play the cat?
Renters that are poor, like myself.
Are you poor?
Am I poor? Right now, yeah. I have depleted my savings. I have been financially independent since I was 21.
312-642-5600 is our phone line and our text line. I don't know. I mean, maybe possibly she cut herself off from her parents, or maybe when she turned 21, they cut her off. But this crying poor thing is just, it's not working for a lot of people.
Of course not. And so, again, go ahead and call in and give us your closing arguments for your candidates. We'll take them this entire time that we're on the air because we want to hear what you have to say. I thought this was sort of interesting. Ted Dabrowski did a little jiu-jitsu with J.B. Pritzker. And as we know, J.B. Pritzker's been trying to lose weight. He's been apparently walking along the shoreline there in Chicago. Well, Ted kind of flipped it on him. And take a listen. See if you can listen to this one.
Hey, Pritzker's slow walking Illinois into a disaster. I'm running for Illinois governor to turn it into a top 5 state. Vote for me, Ted Dabrowski, on March 17th. Together, we can do better. And say goodbye to Governor Pritzker.
It's a pretty clever ad.
I love it. I love it, Jeannie. That is brilliant. I wish you were playing that earlier because that's what he does. Pritzker walks really slow along the lakefront and invites certain reporters that he wants. Other ones, you got to stay away. So that's a great, effective ad. I love it.
So we're going to be talking with Don Tracy. He is running for the U.S. Senate. We'll be doing that in the next half hour. But, of course, we're going to pick apart Juliana Stratton, her endorsement. But I want to remind you again that the closing arguments for the Democrats are you must say F ICE, you must say F Trump. And let's remember, this is the ad that catapulted Juliana Stratton to within reach of Raja Krishnamurthy on the Democrat side running for U.S. Senate. This ad is what elevated her name ID, gave her some sort of bona fides that she is as progressive as she needs to be to win a Democrat primary. Remember this ad and then ask yourself if this is the type of person who you trust to make very important and difficult decisions on you and your family.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
Trump. Vote Juliana.
They said it, not me. I'm Juliana Stratton, and I'm proud to have lived my whole life on the south side of Chicago. I'm not scared of a wannabe dictator. I'm running for Senate to stand up to Donald Trump. I'll abolish ICE and hold Trump accountable for the crimes he's committed, just like they said.
Trump.
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 Vote Juliana.
That's why I approve this message.
And, of course, we know what those bleeps all were.
They weren't nice. So coming up, we will talk about being aware of last-minute lies, because there's some lies not only going on in the U.S. Senate race, but also in the Orland Township GOP committeeman race. We'll begin there with Keith Peacock when we come back.
Subscribe to the Real Story podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or at 560theanswer.com.
The following is a paid political announcement.
I'm Casey Klebeck, and I'm running for the United States Senate. Our country faces serious challenges: rising taxes, rising costs of food, housing, and health care. I'm running to change that with a bold agenda that puts working American first. My plan eliminates taxes on real estate, Social Security income, and retirement income. It removes taxes for students and young married couples, creates 5-year tax holiday for new small businesses, and delivers free prescription drugs for seniors, disabled Americans, and veterans. I'll take no salary. My seat will not be bought by lobbyists. My only client is you. I want to be your voice in Washington, fighting every day for lower taxes, secure borders, safe communities, a retirement you can count on, and keeping the promise of the American dream alive for the generations to come. Please vote for me on March 17. I'm Casey Klebeck, and I approve this message.
The following is a paid political announcement.
This is Don Tracy, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, and I approved this message. Election day is on March 17th, and I'm asking you to vote now because the American dream is under attack in Illinois. My Democrat opponents have driven up the cost of living for all of us and made life more unaffordable. Working families need a strong leader who will champion common sense solutions over far-left extreme agendas. I'm Don Tracy, running for U.S. Senate to defend the American dream. Learn more at DonTracyForIL.com. This message is paid for by Don Tracy for Illinois NFP.
Feel like you're trying to push a boulder uphill wearing skates? If you run or manage a local business today, you're challenged like never before. We get it, and we want to help. We're Salem Surround. We're a full-service marketing agency that'll help you increase your customer base by designing incredibly effective plans to reach your consumers day, night, and everywhere they might be.
Salem Surround. Meet with a digital marketer today for ideas that will make your business stand out. Visit salemsurround.com.
Shh, here he comes. Surprise! The people above your catering business are doing major construction, and the drilling is only during business hours. It's so loud.
Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting personalized discounts on a commercial auto quote with Progressive.
Also, that isn't powdered sugar on the floor. It's plaster from your ceiling.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
It's tax season, and by now, I know you're a bit tired of the numbers, but here's an important one you need to hear. $16 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud. Not all grim news. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second for your personal information and alerts you to threats that you could easily miss on your own. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock's U.S.-based restoration specialist is going to fix it. Save up to 40% off your first year with the promo code BECK, 1-800-LifeLock or LifeLock.com. Terms do apply.
AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. Of course, all eyes are on March 17th. Got a big primary. Did you vote early, Jeannie? Because you were talking
No,
about
I did
doing
not
that.
vote yet. But hey, I got that clip, and I did want to play this.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is from Ted's press conference this morning. This should be, if I got the right clip here, it's not identified as well. Should be former state representative Tom Morrison making the closing pitch about why Ted.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Tom Morrison. I was a 6-term state representative from Northwest Cook County, a suburban seat, which we know is going to be the key to winning this election, both tomorrow, March 17th, but also in November. And that's why I'm up here proudly supporting Ted Dabrowski for governor. We need to elect someone to be our nominee who can actually beat J.B. Pritzker. And when you look at the stage, you look at the coalition that he has put together, it consists of people on the policy side, people, different ethnicities, from the business community, up and down the state, from the city to the suburbs, all the way downstate. Ted has a very strong coalition. I think he's our best candidate who can actually beat J.B. Pritzker. He knows the issues. We've been friends for about 15 years when I first took office down in Springfield, and Ted knows policy on A to Z issues. And so that's why I'm proud to stand with him, to endorse him. I'm just encouraging everyone, come out to vote. There is no excuse why you should sit this out. Who our nominee is really, really matters. And so please come out, support Ted Dabrowski, and then let's take back this state. Let's get Illinois on the path where we should be come November. But we won't get there without Ted as our nominee. So thanks again, and go Ted Dabrowski. Please, Tom.
All right, so every election is important, and that's even true in some of these local political races. And so there's been, at the end of the campaign, this happens frequently. You get last-minute texts, you get last-minute robocalls, you get mailers that don't seem to make sense with what you seem to already know about a candidate. Are they lies? Are they truth? Well, I got to tell you, in Orland Park area, Orland Township, there's been a lot of shenanigans going on, and it's been going on for years. And of course, I got an email from somebody who's asked me for a recommendation in a race, and I said, okay, vote for this guy. And he comes back and said, well, I just found out this about him. I said, okay, well, let's find out what's truth, what's lie, and discuss it. Well, there's nobody better to discuss the shenanigans going on in Orland Township GOP committeeman race than Keith Pekow. He joins us right now, and he has been the unfortunate recipient of many lies told about him, and some of them at the last minute. And so, Keith, this is their tactic, right? Respond with only a couple days left. They try to do this same thing to me. I ran on Duty Honor Country, West Point grad, when I first got elected to some degree. It wasn't my whole argument, but they tried to attack my integrity just 3 days before the election. And they went around my entire neighborhood passing out flyers that were completely false. And this is what they do. This is the dirty politics, even on the Republican side.
Yeah, Jeannie. And first, let me say I'm really sorry for your loss. As my service as well, and we've all experienced it, and really sorry for your loss.
Well, I'd like to talk to you about that a little bit more. I know you have flight experience with this type of incident, and maybe we can get to that. But let's first turn to these local political races and what's going on in Orland Township.
Yeah, as you know, this has happened to me multiple times. Liz Gorman, Jim Dodge have run robocalls, at the last second, saying that I was that I was dishonorably discharged from the military. They've run robocalls that put a target on my wife's back at her school and basically put her physical safety in danger. So this is nothing new, and now they're doing it to Ken Duffy.
And what's Mr. Duffy running for?
He's running for Republican committeeman, which, as you know, leads the Republican Party in Orland Township.
Yeah. Okay. And so what are some of the things that they're saying about Ken that are just not true?
Yeah. So they've 3 text messages in the last last week, actually. One said he's backed by Dark Money PAC. Interestingly, it was funded by a Dark Money PAC that is fake.
The second one was that he's eliminating Easter baskets for Orland Township in his role as a trustee. That is actually just not true. I checked. It's just simply not true. And then the final one was the worst, which was that he is supporting a trans event where kids are going to be at the library. And it is an event that the library is doing, and he did share it on Facebook, but they neglected to point out the fact that when he shared it on Facebook, he said this is unacceptable and unacceptable use of taxpayer money, and for people to call the library and let them know how they feel. So that's a lot different than he supports it.
It's the 180-degree opposite. So what should people understand about what's going on? What's most important for them to realize?
Well, so what you should understand is if people are willing, if the Gormans are willing to say this to get this position, they're willing to say and do anything to get this position, what does that tell you the position is worth to them? It's worth something to them, right? And also it tells you, what will they tell you once they're in office? If they can't run on anything truthful and all they do is lie about their opponents, and they have their own record as well, and they lie about that, for example, she repealed the 1% Cook County sales tax. Well, interestingly, we have a 1.75% Cook County sales tax. I don't think it's been repealed. And in fact, it went into place while she was on the board, the Cook County board, right? And then she says that she sponsored legislation to put in the senior freeze. The senior freeze is not a Cook County program. It's a state program. So right. When they have to lie about everything they've done, and they have to lie about everything about their opponent because their opponent has nothing, they just have to make it up because there's nothing to attack them on. It tells you everything you need to know. And if they're willing to do this to get into office, what will they do once they're in office?
Well, thinking this type of behavior is ever going to stop?
It's never going to stop until voters make it stop by voting these people out. I mean, she was the Cook County or the Orland Township Republican committeeman for 16 years, and no Republicans ran for office. She blocked them. She has a history of doing this for the Democratic Party. So why let them back into this position? There's a reason why she's running again after she lost 4 years ago.
And why
Can
is
say
that?
her name. It's Liz Gorman, right? We haven't said her name.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Liz Gorman.
Okay.
And why does she want all that power back, Keith?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, the patronage jobs that they control, that their family controls, that they get from the Democratic Party by making sure the Republican Party stays subdued. This town was even more Republican than it is now, when she first got into that position 20 years ago. And yet no Republicans in any office, not for trustee, not for library, not for school board, not for anything. In her entire time there, and that's her job in that role, is to get Republicans elected. Well, why do you think that is? It's because she's connected to the Democratic Party. She's connected to the Hastings. That's her job. Her job is to get in there and make sure no one else gets elected, and then they take care of her on the other side.
So other than Ken Duffy, in your neck of the woods, who else should voters vote for tomorrow?
So we're a very split town, as you know, so most of our races aren't even competitive. I've been telling people focus on the governor's race with Ted Dabrowski, with Don Tracy, who we've got coming on for Senate, Nikki Conforti for the U.S. 6th. I believe it's Loy running for state representative. So those are the ones, because there's just nothing else that's really contested. The biggest and most important race right now is the Republican committeeman race, because we need to make sure that an actual Republican who's going to work for Republicans gets into that position. And
that committeeman position would elect the Cook County chairperson, which also would help elevate Republican candidates in the county, correct?
Yes, does that. And then also if someone steps down, they have a vote on replacing that person.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. And state central committeeman as well.
Real quick, what's your political future? Because people miss you.
I am no longer running for office, and I'm actually moving out of state.
What?
I understand, Keith. You gave it the good fight. We really appreciate you. Thanks for coming on The Real Story. We'll be right back with an interview with Don Tracy.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. The conflict with Iran entering its third week. Israel launching some new attacks on Beirut and Tehran, while Iran
hit a fuel tank at Dubai's international airport, grounding flights and causing others to divert. And for the second time in 2 days, Iran struck the Fujairah oil complex near the Strait of Hormuz, used by the UAE to bypass the strait and ship oil over land to Oman.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Germany says it's not going to answer the president's call to escort vessels through the Strait of Hormuz. The defense minister says this is not our war. Officials in Japan, Italy, Australia say they want no part either. Blizzard conditions pounding the northern Great Lakes.
We have winds topping 40 to 50 plus miles per hour, even stronger off Lake Superior.
That's Fox Weather's Jane Minar. America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
This afternoon, expect snow and flurries with an accumulation of 1 to 2 inches. It'll be windy and much colder with a high of 25. The storm total snowfall is predicted to reach 2 to 4 inches. Please be cautious as the snow may create slippery roads and sidewalks, potentially causing travel disruptions. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction or your money back. File in the Credit Karma app.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-827-6261. That's 312-827-6261. 312-827-6261.
If you're nearing retirement, stop what you're doing and listen, because what's unfolding right now could hit your 401k or IRA harder than anything we've seen in years. Military escalation across the Middle East, a tariff war spilling into the courts, the U.S. dollar facing pressure that historically signals one thing: a flight to safety. Smart money has been moving into gold and silver, and it's not slowing down. Call Advantage Gold right now at 800-900-8000 and get your free gold Gold Investment Kit, plus a free copy of economist Ken Rogoff's eye-opening book, Our Dollar, Your Problem. Thousands of Americans have already rolled over a portion of their retirement savings into physical gold and silver, completely tax and penalty-free through Advantage Gold. The next news cycle won't wait for you. Get into position now. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Results vary. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. That's 800-900-8000.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, welcome back to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson. And we have the real story. We're going to get to this October surprise in March a little bit later. But now, Jeannie, we've got your, if you're still shopping for a U.S. Senate candidate on the Republican side, we have a very special guest.
Yeah, we have Tracy with us. I thought we were going to do Juliana Stratton first, but I guess not. Okay.
No,
that's okay.
Because I've been working this story. I've been since, and it's not a secret. I've been friends with the Jackson family, and there's this little surprise here that we have. Saturday, she was at Rainbow Push Coalition, and she did an interview on MS Now.
I can say that I'm really proud. I'm sitting here right now at Rainbow Push on the south side of Chicago that, of course, was led by Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. And I just got notice that he made final personal endorsements before he passed away. And in his personal endorsement, he endorsed me for United States Senate. That's the kind of fight we need, someone who's going to really put the people at the center. I learned that from Reverend Jackson, and now I look forward to continuing to fight for the people of Illinois when I get to the Senate.
I mean, what a desperate life. So I've communicated with some Jackson family members, and they tell me that the Reverend did not, I repeat, he did not endorse Juliana Stratton or anybody on his deathbed. They tell me he would never choose one black woman over another black woman that was running for the same seat. They said that was up to the people of Illinois. He was semi-conscious, Jeannie, for the last 30 days. He could barely speak. He stopped eating 12 days before he died. He didn't have, I support Juliana Stratton coming out of his mouth on his last dying words. Okay, so maybe this is why Governor Pritzker is having no public events today, because I think he has egg on his face, and I think this is what happened. Juliana was at Rainbow Push on Saturday, and I think Governor Pritzker maybe donated money to Rainbow Push for this endorsement. But I know that Yusuf Jackson is supporting Juliana Stratton, but they should have just stopped there. Why did they, in that press release, have to add, and my dad, Reverend Jackson, supports her too?
Well,
it's
it goes,
a lie. It's not true.
No, and it gets even worse. A super PAC supporting Stratton, according to Shia Kapos' Politico article, has also rolled out an ad suggesting former President Barack Obama endorsed her, though the former president has not publicly weighed in. Here's that ad.
You may recognize his voice. I'm Barack Obama. And his. I'm J.B. Pritzker. Two Illinois leaders who both agree Juliana Stratton is a fighter for Illinois families. Juliana Stratton has spent her career serving our community and protecting public safety. Juliana will fight to get guns off our streets. And no one knows Stratton better than Governor J.B. Pritzker. As Lieutenant Governor, Stratton worked with Governor Pritzker to raise the minimum wage, deliver paid time off, get assault weapons off our streets, and defend abortion rights.
Illinois deserves a United States Senator who knows how to fight for us. A senator who will never cower when the moment calls for courage. I'm proud to endorse Juliana Stratton for United States Senate.
You heard them. Now it's time to vote and send Juliana Stratton to the U.S. Senate. Paid for by Illinois Future PAC. IllinoisFuturePAC.com. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. Illinois Future PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
They should have said Illinois Future PAC has received, millions of dollars from J.B. Pritzker and is supporting, and it's a PAC supporting Juliana Stratton. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I heard it the other day, and it was on VON. I just surface radio stations. It was on VON. It was on BBM, I believe, too. I couldn't believe that ad. I mean, Barack's voice sounds different because it was from 10 years ago when he was a president, endorsing her for a state rep seat.
Well, let's remind people of that.
As it is.
Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. He was, basically obviously asked by Mike Madigan to get out Ken Duncan, because Ken Duncan defied Madigan on a vote that he wanted that would have helped the unions. And so he found Juliana Stratton, pulled her up, and spent $3 million and asked Barack Obama to cut a commercial. And so obviously that's where that came from about getting guns off the street. That's the only part that you hear Barack Obama's voice. But even former Obama advisor David Axelrod wrote on social media, it is a measure of Obama's standing in his home state of Illinois that a late ad on behalf of Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton implies his endorsement in the red-hot three-way race for U.S. Senate, but he's not endorsed any of the candidates.
Again, he has not endorsed any of those three candidates, and that is very important to stress. So here again, I mean, what are they doing? This should make every Illinoisan very scared. If COVID wasn't enough to convince you that he is fraught with danger, Governor Pritzker needs to be taken out again because of these two lies. I mean, they're so blatant. When you talk, I got to tell you, Sunita Jackson, they're upset. Like they were saddened by what Juliana Stratton did. They were mortified. Like, my dad is not even in the ground a week, and you're using him. I mean, it was bad enough that Brandon Johnson used his dad for the democracy zones, like Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. democracy zones, where no ICE can be within 10 feet of a polling place. That's bad enough. And now this? It just shows the depravity of that party. Sorry. Or actually, you know what? I'm not sorry. I'm sick of them.
Well, fortunately, there's a much better choice for Illinoisans, but we need to get this man through the primary first. And so Don Tracy joins us now. He's an attorney. He's been an attorney for several decades and is a senior counsel at Brown, Hay, and Stevens, the oldest law firm in Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln famously first practiced law. He and his family own Dot Foods, and so he's been a part of that growth as well. And he's had a number of, positions within the Republican Party on particular state boards. And this, why is this important? Well, because he knows how to get things done. And he's really worked hard since a very early age. And so I'm supporting him for U.S. Senate. And I want him to come here and give us his closing argument. Thanks so much, Don Tracy, for joining Amy and I on The Real Story.
Glad to be here with you, Jeannie and Amy. Thank you for this opportunity. And a very interesting discussion about endorsements because endorsements like yours are, very, very important. And thank you very much for that, Jeannie. And the great thing about it was I didn't even, I didn't have to ask or beg you or anything for your endorsement. You just like me because I see you a fair amount, and you offered it early, and I appreciate that very much. But we've been blessed with endorsements. I think I think we're closing in 150, and now, and again, we're not even asking for endorsements at this point. People just come and say, "Hey, we want to add me, and please add me to your list of endorsers." Every Republican legislator that has endorsed in this race enters. And that's most of them, including the entire congressional delegation, has endorsed our campaign, and me and Illinois Family Institute, Young Republicans of Illinois, the Daily Herald, the Chicago Tribune was kind of an unofficial endorsement because their corporate headquarters said they can't really endorse. But if you read what they say, you can see that's really an endorsement. Almost every township organization in Chicago, and a lot of downstate people don't realize how big these townships are in Cook County. I mean, some of them are they're bigger than most downstate counties, and almost all, but I think one of those have endorsed us. And then just like I say, they're just all over, and yours is one of the most important, Jeannie, and I appreciate that very much. But people are desperate kind of for endorsements, and so that's why it's interesting hearing about the endorsement, travails on the Democrat side, and with Stratton, I guess that's a sign of desperation for her to be doing that with Obama and with Jesse Jackson. But I noticed that there's a Democrat running for, I think it's state rep, who was endorsed by the IEA, but now he's now calling on Pritzker to opt into the school choice provision in the big beautiful bill. So we can give poor kids a chance to once again go to to have choice in schools and go to a better school. But that's only if the governor opts in, and this Democrat was endorsed by the IEA, and now that he is now that he is urging Pritzker to opt into that program. Apparently, the IEA is considering withdrawing their endorsement.
Oh, well, I mean, who cares what they say? Don, let's get more to the point here, though. First of all, why are you running? And when you get there, what committees would you like to serve on and why?
Well, I'm running to defend the American dream by reducing the cost of living for all Illinoisans, especially working families, and to champion common sense solutions in Illinois or in Washington, D.C., and to represent all of Illinois, not just Chicago. And I mean, this open seat is a great opportunity to win again. You know, as you know, Jeanne and Amy, we haven't won statewide since 2014, and we haven't won a Senate seat since 2010, and that was an open seat. But winning this is not going to be easy. It's going to be an uphill dogfight against a career politician who has run before. And will be extremely well funded. We will definitely be outspent. So I take someone who's kind of battle hardened and has some experience. And so of all the 6 people running in this race, I think I have the best shot at winning it. And so if you want to win this seat, I say vote for Don Tracy. And I also say a lot, and that's why endorsements I think matter, is I say don't just believe me that I'm the best candidate. Look at all the people that have endorsed me. If they're all the Republican leaders and institutions throughout the state.
Well, yeah, too, because there's some people that you're running against that say they're Republicans. We really don't know, like Dr. Pamela Long, who fraudulently called into our show and said she was somebody else from Naperville just to, get her message across, whatever. We called her out on it, but she's for reparations. I mean, you really have to look into these candidates, guys, and make sure that you vote for Don Tracy. I voted early and I voted for you, so that was good. I got that out of the way. But people need to be aware because, there's other, and then the other ones, do we really know if they're Republicans?
Well, Jeanne Evans.
That is the issue.
Yeah, Jeanne Evans pulled a Democrat primary in 20. She pulled a Republican primary. 2020. She voted a Republican in 2022. She did not even vote in the primary in 2024. Don, though, let's just be honest. At one point, you ran as a Democrat. So what gives?
Well, I ran as a Democrat about 25 years ago. I learned the hard way that my values and principles are Republican, not a Democrat, and that I had to, if I was going to proceed with doing anything in politics, I had to either change a party or I had to change my values and principles. And so, like President Reagan, many years before me, I refused to change my principles and values and instead changed parties. And I've been working the last 20 plus years to help elect Republicans up and down the state, help them run for public office. And then I ran for lieutenant governor on the Republican ballot, 15 years ago. So, but voting, in 2020, when Bernie Sanders was on the ballot, and Joe Biden on the Democrat side. You wonder who a person that pulled the Democrat ticket in 2020 ballot would be voting for them. And of course, Trump was on the Republican ballot, at that time. And when we if you want to be on the state board, I think, as you know, Jeanne, you're on the state board.
Yep.
It's disqualifying if you haven't voted in the last 3 Republican primaries, and there's. So, it's a matter, it's just a matter of time. There's a lot of, great Republicans, that were Democrats at one time and their parents were Democrats. But today's Democrat Party is not the Democrat Party of old. The Republican Party is not a perfect party. We have our faults, we have our infighting and all that. But the other side, just as Senator John Kennedy likes to say, our John Kennedy likes to say, that the Democrat Party is just flat out crazy these days.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I don't know if we have that clip from Trump's and State of the Union. They are crazy. That's what he said. It's true. They are. They're nuts. And even in 2020, they were nuts. They were COVID crazy nuts. So I don't know why she did that, but that's who she is. Okay, so Don,
who would ever thought you would have a major political party advocating to defund police?
Right.
Or, the
Department of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm. Or open borders. It's nuts. Or shutting down, the Homeland Security when, we're fighting this, major conflict in the Mid East. I mean, it is truly, as it's Bernie Sanders party nuts, the Democrat Socialist Party, as he calls it. It's radical. It's a total radical party, and that's, if I win this primary, I'll be running against a radical, either Stratton or Krishnamurthy.
No doubt. All right, Amy, any further questions?
Well, yeah, just, what do you, yeah? What were you going to say, Don?
I just want to say condolences to you also. I was just going to say condolences to Jeanne. I meant to say that earlier, and I'm sorry. I've flown in one of those C-130s. I'm a pilot, but I did not pilot one of those, but I had the pleasure of flying on one and being able to lean down in the back and watch them fuel a fighter, and you could see the fighter, pilot there as we were fueling big planes. But, people need to understand, even though they weren't over enemy territory at the time, when you're in a situation like that, you're flying with lights off and, everything. It's a very they're in harm's way in that situation, and so my heart goes out to the family, and I thank all of our great military, those who've served, including you, Jeannie. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's what I was going to ask you. You still support the mission, though? You still support Trump?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing where the Democrat Party's gone crazy. I mean, the Democrat Party, for decades, they've all said, both sides, has been a bipartisan issue. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. But what are the Democrats? How do they approach that? Well, appeasement, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. It's not a choice between, war and peace here. It's a choice between war or conflict, however you want to characterize it, and appeasement. Biden tried appeasement. Obama tried appeasement. And what did we get out of that? We got Putin invaded the Crimea, then he invaded Ukraine. We got the Hamas war. We got these Iranian proxy wars. Over 1,000 of our soldiers, were killed, and many more were maimed by roadside bombs in Iraq. At the instance of Soleimani, that we did take out, but Iran was behind that. So, it's. We cannot allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon, and thank God we have a president who's got the courage to do something about it.
I agree. All right, we're going to leave it right there. Don Tracy, run for U.S. Senate. Pull that Republican primary ballot tomorrow and vote for Don, or you can vote early today. And we'll be right back. There's a lot more to discuss on The Real Story.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome, Don.
This is the show that the Chicago Press Corps and the Democrats in Springfield don't want you to hear. It's The Real Story on AM 560. The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
The summer heat in Chicagoland is no joke. And if your old air conditioner is making funny noises, you may already know it's time for a new unit.
Look, your air conditioner, it's a disaster. People are telling me it's the worst ever.
Don't sweat it. Literally. When it comes to cooling your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Rebates are still available. Financing is flexible. And at Air Right, installations are smooth and professional with no surprises.
It's beautiful. Some people say it's the coolest air anyone's ever felt. I don't know. That's just what they're saying. It's doing an incredible job. Really tremendous.
Plus, tell them AM 560 sent you, and Air Right will give you $56 off any service. Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling, doing it right since 1959.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Paid for by Michael Pierce for Congress. I'm a lifelong Illinoisan, a college graduate with advanced degrees earned while serving my country, and candidate for U.S. Congress. I retired from the Army with the rank of Lieutenant Colonel and active in veteran organizations working for the benefit of veterans in need. To go to Washington, fight for Illinois, and eliminate bloated bureaucracy left over from our prior administration, I need your vote. My name is Mike Pierce, Republican candidate for Congress 11th District. Let me work for you and bring real change to Illinois and Washington. I am asking for your vote, and I approve this message.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Real quick, Gina, I know you're in DuPage County there. You have alternative polling places in DuPage County. The office of the DuPage County clerk said that there's going to be alternative polling places if people see ICE agents. Okay, so I wonder, like, if illegals aren't voting, then why would anyone care, Jeannie, if ICE is near a polling place? Here she is. Her name is Jeanne Kaczmarek. Did I get that right?
Yes,
Jeannie?
that's correct.
I am the name assassinator. And they've set up a hotline number, just like they did for COVID, if you wanted to snitch on your neighbors.
Hi, I'm Jeanne Kaczmarek, DuPage County Clerk, with important voting information about the 2026 primary election. In DuPage County, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, better known as ICE, will not be allowed to interfere with DuPage County elections in any way. It is a federal crime for the military or federal agents to interfere in elections or intimidate voters. It is a crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison to deploy federal troops or armed men to any locations where voting is taking place or elections are being held. Those crimes will not be tolerated in DuPage County, not on my watch. My office has set up a dedicated phone line for the community to report any potential ICE deployments at any Election Day polling places or early voting locations. Any sightings of ICE, military, or federal agents at any DuPage County polling place should be immediately reported to 630-407-5634.
Have you had enough?
Oh
my God, she's just the worst. Okay.
But who's worse, her or Deb Conroy? The DuPage County president, Deb Conroy. Remember, she led the charge to dump Henry Hyde's name off of a building?
Oh, she also voted to decriminalize fentanyl and now wants to pretend like she's big into protecting kids against it. So Deb Conroy's a total nightmare. But Kaczmarek, she's even ticked off her whole own Democrat party. So they want her out as well. Yeah, she's been censored for financial mismanagement. Within months of just taking office, she gave out pay raises and bonuses without qualification. She's raised salaries 40% over a 5-year period. She caused $200,000 in legal fees because she did not do contracting correct. I mean, it just goes on and on. She's a total disaster, and she's in a fight for a primary tomorrow on whether or not she's going to be the Democrat nominee for clerk. So she's getting ousted by her own party, and then she pulls this stunt. Look, I want a tip line. If you see Border Patrol or ICE, go ahead and call me.
Please call us.
Call me if they're near a poll. I want to see it too.
We'll run right over. I mean, but
like it's not
Jeannie,
happening. It's totally not happening. It's a joke.
That's what Democrats do. They make up problems that don't exist. Yeah. ICE is not going into churches. ICE is not going into schools, hospitals, and they are not going into polling places. So everybody relax, calm down. But that's just so typical of her to create a problem when there is none.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I got to admit, we had a couple of callers on. One of them was Denise Pamela Long, who's running for U.S. Senate. And we just simply ran out of time because we wanted to get the Kaczmarek story in. So,
but we will talk to her tomorrow. So
yeah, if she wants to call back tomorrow, happy to take her call. We're on again at 11 a.m. tomorrow. It's signing off.
Big day.
Yep. The Real Story with Jeannie Ives and Amy Jacobson.
On AM 560, The Answer.
Hello?
Sir, this is Officer Peterson. There's been a string of break-ins in the area, and your office, it was hit.
Hit? What do you mean? We were robbed?
Looks like the back door lock was easily pried open, and they moved through the building like they knew exactly what to take. We see wires everywhere. No computers.
What? No computers? I